the tunnels were created in what, 1912?
Until 1912.
Until 1912.
Yeah.
So the cave is still a living cave, or is dead cave, or?
Oh, pretty dead. I mean, nothing is really happening since 1912.
Right. There are no there wildlife in the cave, fish.
No animals at all. Because it's not good here. The water contains too much lime and sulfate, and also it's very no light, you know. So it's also
Sulfates, high sulfates, high lime.
yeah.
And this was part of the mining operation here. This was the entrance to the mine.
Exactly, yeah. And here you can say it started. Here it starts, you know. They got gypsum from here.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Gypsum.
Gypsum. So this is a former gypsum mine. Hello.
Hello.
Former gypsum mine, because they could use this material in agriculture as a fertilizer.
Aha.
Ah.
Ha. Pit props. They call these pit props back home. It's
Over there?
props up the pit so it doesn't fall. Right? They're pit props.
Pit props.
Yeah, pit props. And they prop up the pit so it doesn't crush you.
Yeah.
And this is mostly gypsum bearing ore above us. Natural rock, limestone containing rock.
Exactly, that's it. Limestone, basically.
And that's coating. That's causing the coatings on the ceiling is just the simple limestone leaching out.
Yeah.
Groundwater.
Well, that's interesting because you mean the white color?
Yeah.
This was actually painted white.
Wow.
Because then the light reflects better and
Right.
it becomes brighter. And that happened in the Second World War. Because the German armed forces set up a factory for airplanes. And that means they painted all white. Yeah, it was in 1944. And of course, in that time, the concentration camp prisoners were forced to do that. Because they had a camp here from the concentration camp, Mauthausen.
Mauthausen.
Yeah, and about 2,000 prisoners were forced to work here. Basically, they were forced to build airplanes. The fuselage of the airplane Heinkel 162.
You know, it's ironic that the Germans used Postania Cave to store fuel. And the entrance where the amphitheater is, Slovene resistance broke in through an unknown entrance and burned like 3,000 drums. So
Really?
all the stalagmites are gone.
Okay.
They burned the cave, and now it's they have opera singers in there at night because of the acoustics. Yeah.
This is
But so the Germans used the caves to avoid air raids.
I see.
I guess, right? They said they build their stuff underground. You can't bomb the factory as easily.
Yeah, this was the purpose. Because in the end, they had a lot of attacks everywhere, you know. How many bombs dropped. And that means they went underground. Yeah. And here was also a safe place because finally we will be 60 meters underground.
60 meters under, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, it's dark.
Oh, yeah, it's now getting dark.
Yeah. That's what caves are, though.
Yeah.
It's electrified, clearly. Beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, good. So you're a good golf player.
So I at one time I played pretty good. Yeah, I've had a few back surgeries. I still can I can shoot around par if I play good. I'll shoot low 70s. You know, I've been in the 60s a handful of times in my life. Nothing to write home about. They kept horses down here too.
Yeah, they kept them here, and they even became blind because they lived inside almost the whole life.
Right.
And
darkness.
In the darkness, they had only simple mining lamps with a little fire. And it was pretty good for the miners because then they are more calm.
Right. Were they used as beasts of burden for hauling out ore and whatnot, as to tow the trains?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. For the trains. Yeah.
Wow. And these alcoves are places where they were carving out rock?
Yeah.
Right. It had a nice deposit of gypsum in it, so they just continued to quarry it.
Exactly. And then when they didn't found gypsum, then they just stopped and they dug it at another place.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow.
And this here is a movie decoration of the movie The Three Musketeers.
Oh.
Yeah, the movie was made here.
Oh.
Charlie Sheen, Kiefer Sutherland in 1993 with...
Right.
Yeah.
I did not see it.
Yeah.
That's why it's for sale in the gift shop on DVD.
That's why. Yes.
Right.
Right.
And this was part of the movie. They made the gate for the movie.
Exactly, yeah, part of the movie, yeah. And it's nice, to see the movie afterwards, because in the movie it's about 15 minutes, the Seagrotte, and so there is a lot of time to see, do I know this, do I know this?
Sure. Because you work here, you've watched it 5 or 10 times, probably. Yeah,
Probably, yeah.
right.
Yeah. The movie looks different, of course, but yeah.
Well, this is a bonus. I have my own private guided tour of the Seagrotte to the tune of €11. Where does that go? Just up to a
This is an emergency exit.
emergency exit.
It goes up also to the daylight. Yeah, you arrived in the right time. It's very quiet here. Usually we have like 70 people in one group, or 50 maybe.
Oh.
But Postojna is much more in Slovenia. The cave is another dimension. It's so huge.
Oh my God, it is a production getting there, and they give the tour. There's a Chinese person employed there to give the tour in Chinese.
Also, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Deutsch, Chinese, English, Slovene, obviously, and Chinese are standard every tour.
Oh wow.
And if you have a Turkish party or someone like that, they can accommodate. They just have to have some notice. This is a pit. Where does this go? Oh my. Oh my. It's water.
Yeah, there's some water.
How deep?
Actually, only like 30 centimeters.
Inches, right. And this is a pit?
Yeah, it goes down for the air. The air goes down.
Air.
Like 14 meters.
14 meters. Whew.
Yeah.
50 feet.
Yeah.
Dead if you fall in there.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Painful.
Painful end. Right.
Anyway, painful. Maybe
Wow.
that. But there is already some water underneath, but not so much. And there is another lake. So that means our boat ride will be below this lake.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. This is part of the original lake.
Actually not.
Just spillover.
This just happened, because we took the water there. But in the bottom stage, it's all from 1912 because they had a water income. Flooding happened. It got flooded in 1912.
Was this where we have been underwater here? This was been full of water and later drained away?
It was only below us.
Only below us.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Yes, beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow. And mostly above us is modern electric conduit piping and so on, just to get the place electrified. This was put in by Austrians as part of the opening of Seagrotte.
Exactly.
Right.
And even recently, like in this period, we have a full renovation. So this is all from the last week.
Oh, wow. Okay.
LED.
LEDs, right. Very Euro.
Yeah.
Oh, my.
And here we have a chapel. The chapel is important for the miners because they have a dangerous work and they have a patron saint, and the saint is called Barbara.
Saint Barbara.
So she's the saint, and in the Christian religion there is actually in every mine is a place like that. Yeah.
The poinsettias, I assume, are artificial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Saint Barbara.
Saint Barbara. In every mine, yeah. Christian religion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this here is everything again in white color. Here, maybe you can record this. There are nice pictures of Saint Barbara. Tells the story. A painful story actually, because finally she died.
Her feet are bound and her hands are tied.
Yeah.
And he's holding a sword.
Yeah.
He looks Russian.
It should be the area about Turkey.
About Turkey. He could pass for Turkish too, sure.
Yeah.
That's her.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. 1,700 years ago.
1,700 years ago.
Yeah.
And this says, "Im Stillen Gedenken."
Yeah. This is a memorial board because there was an accident here, boat accident.
Someone passed away.
Yeah, 5 people.
Unfortunate.
Yeah.
And this is this.
That's another. For the concentration camp prisoners.
Would you mind reading the German part first?
You mean that I read it?
Yeah.
In German?
In German?
Ja, also zum Gedenken an die KZ-Häftlinge und Kriegsgefangenen, die in der Zeit 1944, 1945, als die Seagrotte unter der nationalistischen Diktatur beschlagnahmt war, hier Zwangsarbeit leisten mussten.
In memory of the concentration camp prisoners and POWs. who were forced to work here from 1944 to 1945 when the grotto was expropriated by the Nazi dictatorship. Thanks.
Oh. So we will make a movie maybe, huh? Later.
Perhaps. Oh my. All of this was taken out for gypsum.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Huge.
It's huge.
Yeah, all done by 80 people.
80 people.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And they worked 64 years. I mean, the whole mine was 64 years open.
It closed after the flood.
And then, yeah, exactly.
Planes.
Yeah, here are some rest of the airplane factory. We have a wing, we have an old telephone from Siemens.
Siemens has been around that long.
Yeah,
Right.
Old company, yeah.
German company.
German company,
German combat helmets.
right?
German plane parts, I guess.
Yes, German spoons.
German spoons. And this white material that's coating them is just a dried paint dust?
You mean the whites?
Yes.
The dust, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a kind of the dust.
Mm-hmm.
Because they had a lot of renovations recently here.
And how come the plane is deteriorating? Just from dampness and
Yeah, slowly.
80 years old?
That's
Right.
also the reason. And also it got broken because in 1945 they blasted the equipment of the factory by bombs.
By bombs, right.
Yeah. And then so it's just left like that.
Boy, that swastika sure is a recognizable symbol, isn't it?
You mean
The Nazi swastika on the tail of the
Right,
plane on the
right.
thing. So everybody knows what that means.
Yeah.
The landing wheel. And this says Frightenstelle Teilbau?
Fristenstelle Teilbau.
Fristenstelle Teilbau.
Yeah. This is just a section of the factory. So
Okay.
then the people know from that sign on it's another section of the factory.
Wow. So these were left here at the end of the occupation. They just packed up their stuff and left.
Yeah, exactly. And they blasted everything by themselves because the Russians, the Soviet army was already in front of the door.
Wow.
They blasted everything by themselves. But the galleries did not collapse. After the war, the water came back from the lake because they made everything dry below us. So there was no lake because they kept pumping,
Right.
water out.
Pumped it out.
Yeah, but then the war ended and then the water slowly came back. And that's why we can have a boat ride again.
At the current level, right.
Yeah.
Example of mining equipment here from before the flood.
Yeah, exactly.
100 years old plus.
Yeah, yes.
My God, what a primitive. And these were drawn by horses.
Yeah, exactly.
This is a great four-way track exchange here, so you could cross tracks in a four-way here, and obviously there's rails missing, as opposed to what we call a turnout or a switch. That's a water pump
Yeah.
with the
manual.
frog on it.
Yeah, exactly. There's an electric one, but that came later.
That looks like, are they fossilized chunks of rock with little worms in them?
Yeah, because the water contains so much lime, and these things were in the water,
Right.
and so it's full of lime.
It's full of fossils. Oh, I'm in heaven now. Can you find them on the ground in Hinterbrühl?
What exactly you mean?
Fossils,
Fossils?
stones.
I haven't found any yet.
You have to know where to look.
Yeah.
Why that salamander looks like the Olm from Slovenia.
Exactly.
Right. Right.
Unfortunately, here we don't have them, so we just brought them here, just one.
Right. Yeah, the Olm. It's called the Olm.
Oh.
People thought they were baby dragons,
Yeah.
and that
baby dragons. That's a good idea. Yeah.
that's a gas. That's a lamp. That tube, that gas tube coming
Yeah.
off the conical shape. They're both lamps. Actually, they're gas
right,
lamps.
Right. Yes. Very good. Yeah.
Wow.
You
And
know,
this
very good.
this is some sort of lifting device, a
Some
winch.
lifting device. Yeah. Actually, I
Yeah.
don't have an idea what it is exactly, but some lifting device, and they're the natural tools of the miners. the
Everywhere, the logo here is the crossed hammers.
hammers. Yeah.
Yep. It's near and dear.
Yeah, and also they used blasting material. Right? They had to use blasting because the limestone is pretty hard. I mean, to get it
Sure.
out, it's not so easy.
Sure, it's difficult to tunnel in limestone.
Yeah.
So these candles are lit for special tours.
Yeah, we have celebrations.
Celebrations.
Saint Barbara. Celebrations here, because here is the best acoustic, and that's a good place to sing.
Right.
Yeah. Even we had the Vienna Boys Choir here.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
And even weddings. Yeah.
sure. I'd love to get married in something like this. It'd be stunning. Wow, this is great. What's behind the curtain?
It's a gallery,
Mm-hmm.
just as far as this gallery about.
Mm-hmm.
Because they do renovations and it's very dusty.
Mhm.
That's why they had to close it.
Keep the cave clean. So that's some of the original paint that the Germans had painted or the Austrians had painted on the cave?
No, this is actually gypsum.
That's
The
gypsum.
The red one is gypsum.
Wow.
The gray one is gypsum.
Huh.
And the rest is limestone.
Limestone. Actual gypsum veins running along the ceiling.
Yeah, and also a bit muddy sometimes, soft material.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it makes talc, right? Talc and gypsum. No, they're close to each other on the talc is softer than gypsum, but gypsum is like the next softest mineral.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's like that. And
Talc
here-
is a 1, gypsum is a
here
2.
you see it's pretty glittering or shiny.
Yeah, I see the shininess, the glitter.
Yeah, glitter, yeah.
What is that from?
It's also the gypsum.
Gypsum crystals,
Yeah, exactly. Gypsum crystals.
crystallized.
And sometimes more, sometimes less.
Sure.
Sometimes really nice to see.
Depends on how much pressure it was under when it was made, you know.
Yeah.
No, there's definitely some coloration in the minerals there.
Yeah. Red iron, huh?
Yeah, high pressure. And this is artificial, or this is
Artificial.
artificial.
Cement.
Yeah, it's
It's
cement. Just to hold the rocks up.
Yeah. Exactly. Support everything. Yeah.
Huh. It's really warm down here.
It looks interesting. Yeah. What's that?
Yeah, look like the little garnets or something.
Looks even. This is water probably. That's why. Huh?
Yeah,
I saw it's like silver or something.
silver or something. Yeah, it's like
But
water droplets.
Water drops. Yeah.
Huh.
Mm. Yeah. You're deep in the
Fascinating.
mountain,
Yeah, we're down pretty deep.
huh? Yeah.
So this is it's an incline railway.
Yeah. So now we go down.
Wow. Yeah, and this is the way out.
Yeah, exactly. That's
So
right.
we're heading down.
Yeah.
Nice.
Let's go deeper. And here we have a horse again.
Oh,
Because they worked in circles to move an elevator system, they had to move this wheel, and then one side empty cars went down on rails, and on the other side they lifted up the cars. There was a circle, and the horse had to move the circle. You know?
so the horse ran in a circle, and it turned this whole
Yeah.
log
Yeah,
and raised these ropes and lowered these ropes.
exactly.
Good Lord, the poor horse.
Yeah,
And there's the circle he made. So he
Yeah.
lived in that circle.
yeah. He lived in that circle.
Ah, poor guy.
Poor, yeah. Even blind sometimes, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and this was connected somehow with the wagons, you know.
Here's a brake for the railway car.
Yeah.
It would stop here or something.
Yeah, I think this is for a machine maybe because they lifted up the things in the Second World War.
Mm-hmm.
The fuselage got lifted up here,
Huh.
and they had maybe some device, you know, to
Sure.
lift up.
Sure.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's not a good place for a horse.
No.
So this is an original railway from before the Nazis. This was 1912.
Well, this actually the Nazis made
Okay.
because they lifted up the fuselage. The fuselage, because of the airplane, was produced here below, and then it was lifted up here.
That's all gypsum, that stuff that looks like mud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it comes also with the water.
Mm-hmm. Of course, the water will run behind and leave a deposit,
Yeah.
and eventually just keep dripping and dripping and dripping.
Yeah.
But we don't expect, well, it'll be thousands of years before there would be any stalagmites.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, one day we have some stalactites. Curious how old this place can become.
Right.
Because now we have about 100 years. See? Yeah, that's the movie Three Musketeers.
Three Musketeers. Kiefer.
Yeah.
Kiefer Sutherland.
Kiefer Sutherland. So
Yeah.
well known.
Who's this? What's his name? Is that Chris O'Donnell?
No.
Is that Oliver Pratt?
Curry.
Tim Curry. That's Tim Curry. Yeah. He played, I believe he played Curly Bill Brocious in Tombstone. He is famous
Yeah, I think
part. Yeah,
I think they had a lot of famous
he's hilarious.
actors in that movie.
Oh man, look at this. It's all. We're on the water now, aren't we?
Yeah.
Wow.
Now we have a boat ride.
Oh,
Yeah. If you like, you can already enter. Yeah.
so you can fit a good 30 people on the boat. It looks like.
Yeah. Sometimes it's like that. Yeah.
Right. That looks like some old Viking boat there or something.
Yeah. It's our boat from the movie The Three Musketeers.
Oh, from the movie, right. Huh.
Yeah.
Incredible. Did they pay for the rights to use the lake?
Oh, I think so.
Yeah.
I think they paid a lot.
So this water looks like it could be 5 or 6 feet deep. About
Yeah,
1 meter, 2 meters?
Sometimes it's an illusion because of the water reflection. But
Right.
now we have a thing about 4 feet.
4 feet.
Yeah.
1 meter, 1.2 meters.
Exactly.
Yeah. Wow.
And that's pretty much the same everywhere. Only
Yeah.
one place is deeper. It's like 12 meters deep. The deepest.
Mhm.
12 meters. I don't know, is it 40 feet or maybe something? Maybe.
That's deep.
So
Yeah, that's deep. And that's the Incline Railway back up where the Germans built that to get fuselages out of here. So, of course, there was no water here yet.
Yeah.
Right.
The water was
They
here.
pumped it clean.
They
Pumped it dry.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah.
Wow.
They pumped it dry, completely dry, and they kept pumping to keep it dry because every day about 50,000 liters comes in.
50,000.
Yeah, yeah.
And the boat, how do you steer the boat? It drives by itself?
It's the propeller. No, I have to
You,
control.
you have the rudder.
Yeah.
Wow.
The rudder and the propeller and the battery under my seat.
It moves pretty slow.
Yeah, very
Yeah, right. Wow, this is incredible. There was a water cave in Pennsylvania called Penn's Cave that had a boat. You had to see it by boat. And the same reason it flooded the entrance. I was very young when I was on that trip. God, I must have been 10 years old.
And is it allowed to go inside? Or is it
That one is like this one. It has a park. It's monitored. You have to pay an entrance fee, and it's a guided tour. Usually, any of the places where you can readily, exploit commercially, someone will have, opened up a business selling cave tours.
Yeah, yeah.
What is the total acreage, do you know, or the square meters of water?
It's like 6,200 square meters.
6,200 square meters. That's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a big lake. This is the largest underground lake in the world.
Oh, they say in Europe.
In Europe. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like from the size, it's similar to a soccer field, like a national soccer field.
Wow. Yeah, China has 1 or 2 underground lakes, I know.
Yeah.
Postania has a river. I don't know if it's really a lake there.
It's a river.
It's huge. You been there?
Yeah, strong river.
Very much so. And you're at the exit, you're like 50 meters above it.
Yeah.
And you can see that waterfall. And it's loud. I mean, it's a lot of water pumping through that river.
Yes, yes, yes. I think the largest underground lake in the world is in Namibia, in Africa.
Namibia. Also one of the darkest skies in the world.
Ah, Namibia.
Yes, one of the best night skies left in the world. The Canary Islands, Chile, Namibia, that central western part of Africa. There's not a lot of big cities, and this apparently the advantage of Namibia is that they have over 300 days a year with no clouds.
Yeah.
So there's very little obscuration of the starlight due to cloud cover, which
For research and
yeah, for Arizona, they get a lot of clouds. This is stunning. All of these caves, though, these would have been areas where gypsum had been taken out, and then they said, let's go to the next spot. It's getting a little weak here. They've quarried in pretty deep here.
exactly, yeah.
Then they started another one around this corner. And look how white it is. That's all gypsum?
Yeah, all gypsum and lime. The water contains 10 times more lime than usually at home.
Wow.
It's full of lime, there is a wall of clay, and behind there is a cave filled up with water. So here's the origin of the lake.
Huh.
So they had a blasting operation over there, the water came out, and the stage was flooded, mining stopped.
What's behind that wall now?
Well, nobody knows exactly, but it should be like a natural cave.
Right.
Yeah.
If the water level has receded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's definitely water behind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's no point knocking a hole in there trying to make another cave.
No.
Right.
No,
Keep the water back.
Yeah, just they closed it so the water stays behind. And now the little lake that we have seen before is above us.
Really? Wow. Wow. Nice. Fountain.
Made in China.
Made in China. What isn't made in China? They've got a busy economy.
Yeah.
Some of their stuff that they're coming out astronomically is quite good. It's buyer beware, though. You can get stuff that will break, and it's difficult to return to China, you know.
Yeah, exactly. So it's
Yeah, wow. Wow. Huh.
now behind me there's a pumping machine. Here we pump out the water.
Is that what those pipes are?
Yeah.
And what does it do? Keep the water at a constant level?
Yeah, we have to turn it on, maybe every month.
What if you didn't? It would continue to fill up.
Yeah, it would stop here. Then the pressure is high enough and it would stop here. It would not become deeper.
How high? Is over our heads where we are now? Where we're sitting? Like it would raise a meter, 2 meters?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, like that. And that would be and then sometimes it would be too close to the ceiling.
To the ceiling, yeah.
That's why we pump it out.
Huh.
Just for the boat ride.
And where do you pump it? Into the creek across the street?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And there is a nice picture on the right side. It looks very deep, but it's only an illusion. It's the reflection of the ceiling.
Oh, it looks like it's 100 feet deep.
Yeah.
The camera doesn't really pick it up. But it's the ceiling. It's not deep at all.
Yeah, it's only like 1 meter.
Oh my word! It looks like it's 100 feet.
Yeah.
And there's quite a bit of flowstone on these walls too, so they're definitely still active mineralization and deposits. So that water is that clean and pure that reflection is just like a mirror,
Yeah.
and it literally looks like it's 100 feet deep and it's a meter. Yeah, there's still plenty of formative mineral structures in here. You can see the flowstone coming off the walls in spots that have fresh gypsum.
Yeah.
At the entrance especially, I noticed. Huh. And these pillars, the miners ultimately obviously had to leave some support for the ceiling, but this area has mostly been hollowed out just due to gypsum mining.
Exactly. 100%.
Right. 100%. So these columns, these buttresses as they call them, were used to literally keep the ceiling up.
Yeah.
And there was you'll notice that they're tabular in shape and like an upside down trapezoid, in that they get much wider at the ceiling, and they taper to the base. How did the accident occur here? Where there was someone wrecked on the boat?
Yeah, the problem was the boat was a bad construction. It was not a good boat, and it was more heavy on the right side, and the boat didn't have enough safety to maintain the stability, and then it just flipped over. Yeah, people were captured below the boat.
Drowned.
Drowned below the boat.
That's terrible.
Yeah. Yeah, and then they found it out after this accident, and so we got a new boat, and now we have this boat, and so...
This is the only boat?
We have another one for more tourists. Sometimes we have a lot of tourists. Like
The Monica, is it called the Monica?
This is called Monica, probably, yeah? And the other one is the Leonora.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think this is the Leonora. I don't know, maybe not. I thought I saw Monica on the other boat.
Ah, on the other boat, yeah.
Maybe. And the other one's called Leodora.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah.
So this is that same wall here?
Exactly, the same.
Right. And that behind that wall is unknown. We don't know.
We don't know.
It's a natural cave.
Natural cave. Filled up with water.
It could be, you could knock a hole and flood the whole cave.
Yeah.
Right. Who built that wall?
Oh, Seagrotte for a long time.
Oh, okay, Seagrotte built it.
Yeah, maybe it's 80 years old.
80 years old. How long has the Seagrotte been open as a destination like this?
Already since 1932.
32.
Yeah, so a long time already.
There was a big renaissance in caving in Europe back in the turn of the century. Caves were all the rage. In 1870 up to 1930, everyone wanted to take cave tours.
Ah, really?
Yeah, this is, United States had the same. They had this thing called cave wars. Mammoth Cave in Kentucky was at the end of a long road, and there was unscrupulous advertisers trying to direct you to their cave, Sand Cave, Flint Cave. Yeah, it was a very competitive, cutthroat market back in the 20s, the caving boom. Again, same effect. The water over here looks like it's 100 feet deep.
Yeah.
And it's strictly a reflection through the tunnels.
Yeah.
That is stunning.
Yeah.
Looks like there's rocks underneath that go down that you can just scuba dive in.
Yeah. There is like no when it changes from the real to the illusion, there is like no gap. You know?
Right. Yeah, it's a very interesting phenomenon. Oh, that was great.
Yeah.
Private tour. What are those metal plates in the ceiling for? Were they originally anchored to something?
Yeah, they support the structure of the rocks.
Mm-hmm.
And we got a lot of them. You know, we have so many of them. It's like also on the streets, in the tunnels. You can see that actually.
Okay.
When you go through a tunnel, they often have this. Yeah, so.
Wow.
And here behind you is a huge of that. Can you see that?
Wow, yeah.
This is like a huge, it goes up like 15 meters.
50 meters, and it's an iron rod attached to it.
Yeah, it goes even up to the other stage.
Huh.
And there is like a big ending.
Uh-huh.
In English, you make like that.
A nut. Yeah, a nut.
A big nut.
Mm-hmm. A nut and a bolt.
Yeah.
It's a big bolt, 50-meter long bolt.
Yeah.
And the boat was strictly for the movie, and they just left it here when they were done.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Exactly. So this is the first picture in the movie. When you watch it, you will see the boat in the very beginning.
Huh. Beautiful. Good stuff. Safe enough. Yeah, the Monica. So there are two tourist boats total.
Yeah.
You probably have an emergency boat or two, right?
We have another small boat.
Yeah, I saw one around the corner there.
Exactly, that's it.
Someone's stuck somewhere or something, you can boat out to them.
Or when we change the bulbs.
Oh, right, change the bulbs. Yeah. I bet that's a fun job, taking a boat out to change the bulb in the water. You got to get on a ladder.
Yeah,
in the water.
Really tricky.
Right. Yeah, that's a high.
People fell inside already.
Oh, guarantee, yeah.
Yeah, must happen twice.
So there's tons of these square plates that have a rod running through them, and then they go out somewhere and they're bolted on the other side, and it puts the rock under tension, and it will add to the structural stability. Obviously, that looks very fresh.
Yeah.
That looks like the metal was cut there.
Yeah, very
recently.
Very
It hasn't had time to rust over like these.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I guess it's really pretty new. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So they're clearly maintaining.
Yeah, right now.
Mhm.
Ja, kommt da die nochmal rein, meine Sterne?
Mhm.
Ah, habe ich schon geflogen, oder? Ah. Okay. Und nichts. Na gut, ich komme hier raus, gell? Okay. Ja.
Einer for alle, and alle, all for one and one for all.
Exactly.
Yeah. Alle was one of the first words I learned in German.
Really? Yeah. Did you learn a little bit of German?
Yeah, from listening to Laibach, and then they all sung their songs in German, and I started. That's the German name for Ljubljana. And it's a Slovenian metal band, avant-garde band, and they sang a lot of songs in German. Das Spiel ist aus. The game is up.
And now you're traveling a lot in the winter.
This last winter, I'm expecting a family back home. I have my soon-to-be wife is 19 weeks pregnant.
Good.
Yeah, thank you. And we booked this trip in July before we knew we were having a baby. And I have some business in Slovenia I have to take care of at the beginning of March.
In Slovenia, really?
Yeah, and the World Championship of three cushion was just in Värsen. Austria took silver, by the way, and they weren't supposed to even get out of the qualification. They defeated the Netherlands, Belgium, and Turkey in succession, and lost to Korea in the silver medal round. So I was there with Andy for 4 days in Värsen, and I took a flight to Vienna. I spent a day in Amsterdam, which it was okay. I mean, it's pretty. The canals are nice.
Yeah.
But it's too many tourists.
Oh, a lot.
Very busy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we.
Even in this season, or?
It was a little cold, but it was still pretty crowded. Yeah. I prefer Austria. I prefer Slovenia. I'm looking forward more than anything just to that 7-hour train ride. You know, from Vienna to Ljubljana. It's the most beautiful ride through the Alps.
Oh,
and
beautiful.
You go through Graz, and I don't know if they end up in Innsbruck on the southwest side. I think it's more of a northern route that cuts through Maribor, and then through Sleep, which is kind of stupid for me because I stay in Selnica, which is much closer to Maribor than Ljubljana. And I'll have to cut back across, but I want to go back to see Postania Cave again. It was it was that much worth it that I would pay another 22 euros to see it again.
Oh yeah.
Although it's not as intimate as this experience. I mean, I had my own private guide. First of all, Stephen, thank you enough.
Really.
And I saw, I got to stop and ask questions. Like you don't have that luxury at Postania.
No.
They're pumping you through there as fast as they can.
Yeah. Sometimes the guide is even somewhere else and
way in front.
And you never listen what he says actually. No?
Yep. And if you like the example I had a fairly large group of Chinese speaking, maybe 8, two German. No one in Slovene, and the rest were in English. And so my group was the largest.
Yeah.
But I walked with the German group because I could still hear the English guy behind us, like 50 meters. And I understood enough of the German, it was intimate. It was much more private.
Yeah.
There were some pretty obnoxious tourists in my group who just didn't appreciate. They were just there because someone said, "Hey, while you're there, go do this." They did not appreciate the geology behind the operation. About Postania, I'd say it's similar. Limestone, gypsum. They have some iron, so there's a lot of red. There's a lot of rust and reddish deposits. But a great many of the columns, as well as the stalagmites and stalactites, were mostly white, which is limestone and gypsum, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess so. It really looks like this lime, and, like similar color like this.
Quite.
And I'm really surprised that this is safe, because you have so many stalactites, and
how no one gets hit.
Yeah, and never ever something falls down.
How about the train ride? Like you're pretty tall, and I wonder about some of those ceilings. It's like this, and it even says keep your hands in the tunnel. It's tight. It's tiny. And it's the longest underground train or whatever. I would recommend the Seagrotte to anyone in Hinterbrühl or anywhere even near Vienna, just simply because of the intimacy of the tour and the fact that you're on a boat. How many times can you take a boat in a cave?
It's pretty unusual.
Right, and the illusion created by the mirror pools, you know, the ones where it looks like the water's 100 feet deep, are worth it. Any historian, any buff of World War II would not fail to appreciate the concentration camp angle and the German factory parts. There's a little something for everyone here. I would recommend it for anyone, Stephen. This is and it's intimately, it's quiet. It's I guess I got lucky with the number of people, right?
Yes,
could have been a lot more, right? Yeah. This is natural gypsum here that has come after the fact. This is
the lime, you know, the water brought it.
Right, you can touch it?
Yeah.
It's a dead cave, right? So they'll let you touch it.
Yeah, you can really touch it, and there it's wet.
Right.
Sometimes it looks slimy, but it's only wet.
Yeah, it's not slime. It's just slightly damp.
Yeah.
It's ever so slightly damp.
Yeah.
And I can feel it's gritty.
Pretty, yeah.
It has a grittiness in the material now.
Hey, my friend!
Hallo,
Geht's dir gut?
Ja, gut.
Alles Bestes?
Hello.
Super, super. Hello.
Hello, sir. I like a nice, friendly, active tour guide on the way out.
Always with a big smile.
Yes, yeah, quite so. These are gutters, extra overflow drains. Ancient. Look at the piping. It's encrusting over. It's literally forming a stalactite off the pipe.
Yeah. So if this drop stays for 1 year, we have a little bit longer stalactite.
Right. It'll grow less than a centimeter 100 years, right, or something like that.
Yeah, I feel that.
Something.
Like that.
Oh, they're all different too. You know, that's an interesting shape. This has been here since when? Roughly at the earliest 1912.
I guess so. Huh?
So you can clearly see deposition layers where there was active drought, and then they will produce at a greater rate.
Yeah, really like layers. Huh?
Layered. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
Which is one of the few actual active cave formations that you'll find in here, because the mineral content appears to be one way, mostly limestone and gypsum. There's very few impurities, if you say, in the water outside of the limestone content. The water is probably pretty pure. If you filtered out the limestone, you're not going to get a lot of other minerals in it.
Oh, it's very clean.
Very clean, right? Yeah. Austrian mountain spring water.
Yeah,
Alpine.
really fresh, delicious to drink. It must be really good.
Yeah.
Have you been to the mountains also?
I walked in the mountains across the street last year with the story about the trees there. In 1790 or whatever, the Viennese had a bad winter and they cut down all the trees in Hinterbrühl for heat. And there was a duke, it might have been Ferdinand.
And he planted, huh?
He went he went all over the world to find those trees, and he found them in Turkey. Because of your limestone, it's very poor soil conditions. It was the only type of pine tree that would grow there was that umbrella. It's a straight canopy, and then it's a flat umbrella at the top.
Yeah.
That's a Turkish tree that the Ferdinand brought here 200 or 300 years ago and planted all over Hinterbrühl. Last year, I walked until I was exhausted, straight up. I tried to get to the top, and I just couldn't make it. It was too far. I just got too tired. And I can't believe I'm saying this on camera, but I smuggled home a couple pine cones, right? Trying to get them to sprout, and none of them would sprout. Yeah.
Really? Did you try? Really?
I was very disappointed. I was hoping I'd get one to grow at my house, but none of them grew.
Oh, that's strange, huh? Maybe it was too long outside?
Yes, I think so. I'm going to try again tomorrow. I'm going to bring a few more home.
Yeah, it must be short time in between, maybe. Because I think, they should actually grow. It's not so...
Yeah, it's just a pine cone.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe there's bad luck.
Yeah.
This is exit.
Exit, yeah.
Yes. Oh, it's a little colder, isn't it? Temperature difference, 10 degrees Celsius.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I can feel it. Yeah.
And it's constant year-round, about, you said 48 Fahrenheit year-round?
Year inside, always this temperature will never change. Yeah.
Well, that concludes the Seagrotte, folks. Thank you so much for watching, Stephen. Thank you for that advice.
My pleasure
good stuff.
To have you, and good luck.
Thanks.
Good luck is the traditional miners welcome.
Yes, indeed. They need it.
Yeah.
This was a railway, obviously, that we filled in with concrete.
Yeah. Can you see they put out the fuselage here?
Right.
Well, I show you this outside. It's really interesting. Yeah.
So it came right out the track.
I'm sure you have seen it already. But it's pretty bright today. But here you can see how it looks like, you know.
Aha.
And this is the exit here, you know. This is the...
So the plane came right out that tunnel we just walked out.
Yeah, exactly.
No wings, just the fuselage.
Just the fuselage.
Sure.
And
Look at the rows of planes.
Yeah, this was in Germany.
Germany.
And this is this street, you know.
This is this street right here.
This street. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is the house. Here is this house here on the top. No? There's a house on top. It's the same house.
Look like they're pushing it down the street by hand. Those are spent fuselages, or look at all those parts. Good lord.
Yeah.
That's a finished version.
That's the finished version exactly. And that was inside, yeah, in our cave here.
This was the piece we found in there. That was at that spot.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Huh.
What else is interesting? Yeah, so this is all. This is the stairs. You know, we went down the stairs to the lake.
Yeah.
That's exactly that stairs. You know.
Heinkel 162 Salamander.
Yeah.
German, cheap, fast. They didn't really repair them. They just junked them, right?
Yeah, it was like a ancient jet plane.
This is the chapel.
Chapel. This is our lake, right?
Yeah. So the German Seagrotte, like past today.
Yeah.
Right. This is when the chapel's lit for a special event.
Yeah, for St. Barbara.
St. Barbara.
Yeah, and this is the horse stable, huh? Horse stable with some horse.
Oh, wow. They live there, huh?
Yeah, always lived inside.
Huh. Beautiful.
Yeah, yeah.